Hello everyone, my name is Meghan LeVota and I offer wisdom, tools, and support for personality integration. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the shadow and how it feels when the shadow is coming to the surface. So a lot on my channel I talk about the 16 personality types, also known as the 16 cognitive type patterns. So each of us, our personalities are exemplifying this pattern, and there are 16 universal holistic patterns, also known as, the 16 MBTI types, 16 psychological types, whatever you want to call them. There are these 16 patterns that are holistic in human nature. And there are 4 cognitive functions that we each have that our psyche overly identifies with, and that's what we call the ego. That is, who we are. But aside from those 4 functions, there are 8 cognitive functions. And even if you are not shining a light on some of these functions, or you're not fully conscious of some of these functions, it doesn't mean that they don't exist in your psyche. And they definitely exist in the universe. They definitely exist when you're interacting with other people who are maybe different than you. And this is what we refer to as the shadow. Carl Jung talks a lot about the shadow in addition to the cognitive functions and the cognitive types. He talks about the shadow. And the shadow is a big aspect of the individuation process, which is this sort of self-growth hero's journey in which each of us fully become the self. We fully individualize as the self. We become conscious of all 8 of the cognitive functions. We shine a light on all of our psyche, and we, in a way, become whole. We become integrated. And on my channel, really what I want to talk about is about becoming integrated, living a life of integrity, and shining a light on your shadow. So a lot of us might be coming from the perspective of just personality type in general. So really, one way that we can become aware of the shadow using personality type is by becoming aware of how the shadow functions show up in you, in your life. And the main way that you will probably interact with these is with other people who use different cognitive functions than you. But as I'm filming this during the coronavirus quarantine, I guess, phase of life, who knows how long this phase will go at this point, but a lot of us in the collective are feeling a little bit uncertain about what the future is going to hold. What I want to talk about really in this video is how each of us are being awakened. Our shadow is kind of being tapped, and that experience is going to feel a little bit different for each personality type. And in this video I want to talk a little bit about how you might be feeling depending on what your personality type is and what might be awakening in you. So yeah, pretty much what I've noticed is that because there's this feeling of uncertainty right now, and we kind of don't really have a choice other than to tap into these shadow sides that we might typically ignore. We have less distractions than ever before, and a lot of us, depending on how secure your job situation is, whether you are in a extremely unsecure job, I mean 16 million Americans are now unemployed as of this video. There's a lot of job insecurity going on, whether you lost your job or you think you might lose it. So all of these I guess existential questions are coming up for people. We're all asking, where do I go next? What really matters to me? In what way do I want to develop? Some of you might be at the point where you're like, you know what, I can't live like this any longer. I really don't like how my life is right now. There has to be a change. And so this point, it's this transformational moment in the collective, and it's happening on a micro scale. It's happening in each and every person and in each and every personality. So the more specific you get, the harder it is to really describe and pin down. And so your exact experience is going to be different from anyone else's, because you're more than just your personality. You're also the collection of your life experiences. You're also, you know, your interests, your purpose, where you're going, your destiny. And your destiny has almost nothing to do with your personality, in the sense that, you know, there might be a lot of NFs that want to be artists, perhaps, but there's also a lot of SPs and SJs and NTs that want to be artists. So that's just kind of one example, is that like your destiny your destiny might be very common for your personality, or might be not so common. So leave space for that, and you know, where you're going is going to really determine how this works for you. But what I can talk about is just on a more general level, how each of us in this time of uncertainty, in this transformational time for the human collective, how each of us can use this as a time to tap into some of our shadow functions. So let's just go in and start with the ENFJs. So as I'm an ENFJ, let's talk about the ENFJ and INFJ. Is that we have strong yet unvalued NE and FI that I believe is coming to the surface right now, because the shadow is seeking to awaken. And the whole way the individuation process works is that your shadow seeks to come to the light and seeks to become conscious. And we have a choice. We either can allow that and allow it to become conscious, or it will happen to us whether we want it or not. We can become aware of the process of itself, or the process will just happen and we're going to just have to react to it as it happens. So if you're an ENFJ, you might be feeling a little bit more NE and FI than ever before. And one way to handle this a little bit better would be to journal about more of the FI than what you would, as opposed to always thinking about what everyone else wants from you and all that, and distracting yourself with other people's feelings and distracting yourself from your own feelings by doing something fun with friends. Use this time to really get clear on what matters to you. Journal about it, and also engage more with NE. Do things just for fun. Come up with a hobby that maybe you don't want to monetize, maybe you don't want to turn into a passion project, maybe it's not for your career, maybe you want to create just to create. Something that I've been thinking about is that I used to scrapbook a lot as a kid, and that I think it would be fun to get back into scrapbooking. Maybe, you know, you also could tap more into the sensing side of yourself, get into your body and really take care of your body. Figure out what systems of habits work well for you, and try and establish a lifestyle in which you are caring for yourself just as much as you care for everyone else. So moving on to NFPs. If you're an NFP, you have a lot more stronger shadow FE and shadow NI that is coming up for you. So for you right now, during this coronavirus, you might be finding the fact that you don't really know what your direction is, and you tend to distract yourself from your direction by going to events in town or engaging with people and chatting about their ideas, chatting about what they're doing, and just finding ways to be inspired, whether that's on the internet or through your friends or through real life. And you might be realizing that, yes, NFPs, you do not have a shortage of ideas. However, now is the time where you can really tune into yourself and think about what direction you want to go. And also, as opposed to always feeling your own feelings, maybe you're realizing right now, if you're feeling isolated, just how important community is and just how important it is to feel like you belong. So if you're an NFP, you might want to join some Facebook groups or join some communities, or maybe find yourself finding any sort of Zoom chats that are going on, or workshops or classes. You might find yourself really wanting to be a part of a community right now. So you might want to do that, and also journal about what life direction you're in, and really get clear about that direction, and try and not ignore what your shadow NI is trying to tell you. So moving on to NTPs. If you are an ENTP or INTP, you might be feeling more of your shadow NI or your shadow TE. So similarly to NFPs, if you are an NTP, you're probably feeling like this life's purpose or this direction of yours is coming to the surface where it's almost harder to ignore than ever before what the purpose of your life is and where you want to go. So this is, again, something that you should journal about if you are interested, is what is that direction and where do you want to go. And also, you might be feeling like a little sick of your own, I guess, TI, thinking about what you think about things, and you might want to apply that towards something. So maybe make a list of all of the problems that your TI is really interested in solving, and see if there's any way that you can tap into that shadow TE and apply that knowledge toward solving something. This could be either a career change, it could be using your skills toward a new creative project, or it could even just be sharing your knowledge like in a YouTube channel or a podcast, or even with your friends. You might be feeling now more than ever that you have something to say. Maybe you have some sort of solution that you would like more people to take seriously. And you know, that could be difficult. That could be difficult to apply yourself, you know, because it's a lot easier for it to all stay in your head. But right now is the time you might be, I guess, feeling that. So yeah, that is something you could think about. Another thing, moving on to the NTJs. So if you are an INTJ or an ENTJ, you, similarly to the NFJs, you might be feeling like you need to learn to embrace uncertainty and embrace the unknown of NE, and find some sort of creative project that doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to be part of your purpose. It can be just something for fun. It can be allowing that playfulness into your life. That, you know, at least for me as an NFJ, it's been a lot of like allowing that inner child and that playful spirit of maybe I just want to color, or maybe I just want to journal just for the sake of journaling. I think that, you know, fun for the sake of fun and creativity for the sake of creativity is very important for NTJs right now. You might also be feeling some shadow TI creep up. Whereas for you, with shadow TI, you might really want to think about, what do you really think about things? And that is another thing that you could journal about, is your opinions on things and what problems that you want to solve. Where you might be realizing that a lot of your life you have been trying to be this cog in a machine and trying to, I guess, be productive and be of use and of service to a company, perhaps, or to school. And if you're an NTJ, it's important for you to know right now that you're more than just your productivity. You're so much more than that. So what can you learn just for fun? What can you research just for fun? Really, I think if you are an NTJ, it's really about allowing that fun aspect in, you know, and that uncertainty of learning for the sake of learning, and then figuring out where that takes you and being open to the opportunities where that could be taking you. Because you're a smart cookie, I guess, and you don't just exist to fill this specific role in a company. You know, your brain power can be used for whatever it is you set your mind to. So that was all the intuitives. Now moving on to the SFJs. So if you're an ESFJ or ISFJ, you might be feeling that shadow FI, but also the shadow SE. So just as the NFJs, you might be really wanting to think about what matters to you and who in your life matters to you. You might be hanging out with people that, you know, you might not really care that much about, but they're good company, ask yourself, what sort of character traits really matter to you? What are the friends that, you know, are actually there for you? And try and really reach out to the people that you feel like value you just as much as you value them. And you know, this could be a time for you to process your own personal feelings about what is it that you're wanting to get out of life. And also, is there any risk that you would like to take with extroverted sensing, as that is another shadow function that's coming up for you? You know, what is, like, you tend to play it safe. You don't really want to rile people up or create too much change too fast. So there might be a risk that you want to take in your life. There might be a different career path you want to take. Maybe you want to put yourself out there in the dating pool, or like sign up for a new class or learn a new skill. So this is a time for you to really realize what are those risks that you want to take in life. So if you're an STJ, you also have this shadow SE going on. And so you also might be realizing that you have been playing it safe in some area of your life, and there might be some sort of risk or something you want to do. Maybe you want to travel somewhere. Maybe you want to spend more time in nature. Maybe you want to revamp your workout routine. There's probably something that you want to do that you haven't allowed yourself to do because you have been so just trying to maintain everything for yourself or maybe your loved ones. So make note of those risks that you'd like to take, like that make life worth living, where you don't where you can, you know, on your deathbed say that you don't have any regrets. And also, if you're an STJ, you also have that shadow TI, as we talked about in the NTJs, where maybe, you know, you want to learn for the sake of learning, or maybe even for you, you might want to do just some fun TI things, like maybe you want to play Sudoku or Tetris, or play like a puzzle or some sort of numbers game. Maybe you want to like let yourself just play, or play Scrabble or something. And anything that kind of engages your mind in a strategy way. For STJs, like, it's really important to realize that you know, you guys always want to hold down the fort and make sure everyone's safe. And so you gotta really try and get out of your head. Use that SE, but also TI that is kind of coming to the surface for you, and play with it. You know, take some risks, but also, like, as I was saying for the NTJs, learn for the sake of learning, or like use your brain like for fun, like for puzzles. I think that's great for STJs to get their mind off of things right now and allow some creativity into their lives. So if you're an SFP, you have some shadow FE and shadow SI coming up. So for you might be feeling similarly to the NFPs that you would like to be a part of a community. So you might want to figure out where you belong, or perhaps what are the sort of people you want to surround yourself with. You might be feeling a little bit lonely. Maybe you tend to distract yourself with SE activities, and it's like you're really feeling like you need to surround yourself by the FE types of people, or in an FE environment that is going to allow you to grow and really make you feel like the real you. So similarly to NFPs, when I said that you might want to sign up for a club, or try and see like if there are any like-minded people out there. Anything that your FI is really interested in, there's probably some sort of group out there on the internet. I mean, if you're interested in personality type, you can always join my Facebook group and talk with like-minded people there. But really, like, being surrounded by like-minded people so that you don't just dwell too much into your FI and just feel sorry for yourself, or feel upset about all the things that you wish that you could be doing right now but you can't. I think, you know, really reminding yourself that you're not alone, and that you do have friends that love you, friends and family. And if you don't feel like you have friends and family that love you, there's always like-minded people out there in communities that you can reach out to and befriend and not feel alone. And for your shadow SI, you might be feeling that you need a sense of stability, and you might be wanting to figure out some routines, whether that's a workout routine or like a morning or evening routine. You might be feeling like just a little stir crazy, where, you know, you are so used to just getting out of yourself and getting immersed in other experiences that you might be just feeling weird in your body. You might want to be like eating healthier and making sure that you have some sort of workout routine. And you know, yeah, that could be really helpful for you. So for STPs, you also have that shadow SI where you also really might want to be focusing on what you're eating and, you know, what you're doing with your body. Like, figure out how you can love your body at this time. For STPs as well, you are dealing with shadow TE where you might want to apply yourself in a different way. So similarly to the NTPs, if you're an ESTP or ISTP, you might be thinking that you want to have a career change. You might want to share your thoughts more. You might be feeling like there's so many problems in this world and that you have some potential solutions, but you've been afraid to share, or you've been not sure how to apply yourself. So looking for ways to apply yourself right now could really make you feel even more useful and like that you aren't going stir crazy, because if you are an STP, you might just be unsure really how to apply, where to apply your mind to. So like anything that is really, I guess, goal oriented right now could be really good for you. So thank you so much if you watched this video. Let me know if what I said related to you at all. And if you're interested in really going even deeper and using your personality type in order for self-growth, to grow yourself, focus on self-development, I have a membership group now that is $33 a month. There is a virtual workshop once a month. The first one is April 18th, and we are discussing how to surrender the somewhat tyrannical control of your dominant function and let go. Let go of this over attachment that you have to your dominant function, and let's just like allow our shadows to come through and become even more of the person, or more of the people that we know we can be. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I wish you guys the best on your journey in integrating your shadows.